Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome to our Energy Meets the Divine. I'm Manuchehri. I hope you're all having fun as we are skipping into fall. It's gorgeous outside here in the Northwest. I bet the East Coast is stunning. I have been on the East Coast once during the fall. I have to go back and go to some more states. It was just stunning. But yeah, all the leaves are orange and yellow and red. And where I live, there's lots of trees that line all the streets. So it's stunning when you're going for a dog walk, even when it's pouring rain and you and your dog are soaking wet. It's still gorgeous, just really, really beautiful. So I hope you're having a lovely, lovely fall or whatever your weather pattern is for wherever you are in the world. And when I think of fall, it's about going inward. We've been out in the summer, frolicking, playing. My friend Shana and I, we play pickleball Sunday mornings. And for the whole summer, because we play indoor, we've been pretty much the only ones that are on the court. And Shana was like, what is going on? How come nobody's here? And I kept telling her, well, they're probably playing outside, or some of the teams have disbanded for the summer because people travel. And sure enough, today, when we went to go play, the courts were full, loud, fun. All the craziness had come back into the building. But that's a reflection of going inward, right? So even though the courts were busy, I just want you to know there's a lot of busyness inside of you. And during the winter, the fall and winter, our job is to go inward and rest and start to pay attention to ourselves. And one of the best advice I can give anyone who wants to work in the healing world, the metaphysical world, mediumship world, psychic world, because there's just all these different topics that we might use or titles, is to actually go inward. The more you do inner work, the better able you are to do work outside of yourself with other people. And a lot of people who move into the healing world, especially when I look at mediums, not all mediums, but some mediums, they had, many that I know anyway, some sort of tragic event that happened in their life. Perhaps they were already on a path of inner work, but had some sort of tragic event that propelled them to do inner work because they had to, that things were just too difficult and too challenging for them. And if they had some intuitive abilities, they expanded. Perhaps they were surprised by these intuitive abilities. So not only keeping our energy up in joy, which is critical, I think that's why my psychic abilities opened up. I was in an area full of trauma, working on an oncology floor in a hospital, but I was also very happy. I enjoyed the hospital work immensely. And, as a mother of 3 children who were young at the time, it's kind of my break. When I went to the hospital, I got a little bit of a break. And I know that doesn't seem possible as you're talking to physicians and family members and all the different therapies, coordinating respiratory and dietary, and their faith healers or their faith practitioners coming in to visit them. It's not like a super bouncy, happy part of the hospital, but it was for me personally. It was a very bouncy part of the hospital. For me, it was. So we're working on our joy, which is critical and important, very critical. And we'll talk more about that during our podcast today. Doing inner work is also critical. And one of the ways, I'm teaching a class right now on preventing and healing disease. And one of our topics, it's a 12-week course, it's a coaching class, is to really examine your family patterns, because that's where disease comes from. If disease is going to go into the body, something within the physical form energetically has to weaken long before the disease sets in, right? It could be decades before the disease sets in. And it doesn't mean it will set in. Some people don't learn through health issues. That's not a precursor for them. Either they just don't care about their health, or they're cognizant of their health. And so they catch things pretty early. When you catch things really early, you can have a pretty pleasant reversal, usually holistically, right? That's why it's important for us to be more psychically or intuitively aware of the workings inside of our body, because the body is talking to us all the time. So a big part of inner work could be looking at your family dynamics, your family patterns. Instead of going, oh, Uncle Fred had heart disease, and so did great grandpa Joseph, I'm going to have heart disease too, or I'm at risk for it. What you're really at risk for is continuing the patterns that lead to those particular diseases. So cardiac disease is a heart chakra issue, because the heart chakra governs the heart muscle and the lungs and the circulatory aspect of this area of the body, which affects the entire body. And so people can shut down their heart, like not be very kind to others, which probably no one that listens to this podcast is like that regularly. Or people aren't good at receiving, which a depletion of subatomic particles over long periods of time can weaken this area. And then after so many years, people might develop problems in their body. So try to ask yourself when you're sitting quietly, whether you're meditating or sitting in a bathtub or on a long walk, when you're kind of in that reflective place where there's some quiet, just ask the universe, and I like to look up to the heavens when I'm talking to the universe. I do. Not that that's the only place where the universe is. The universe permeates every part of our being, every part of your energy system, every part of your org field, every part of your home, every part of the earth. So there's no separation, but I still like to look up, because then I feel like the universe is taking me a little bit more seriously if I'm gazing up at the heavens or the ceiling while I'm having a conversation, like, hey, and I have it out loud with my mouth, speaking words, not just mental telepathically, which is how the universe does the majority of its conversation, is through mental telepathic interaction between humans and non-humans. But I will look up, and if you can just say please or thank you for sharing with me any family patterns that could be reevaluated that may affect my health, or once known could help me increase my well-being. Just ask the universe. It's always on call for you. It's your best friend, loves you unconditionally, and will always help you. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the phone lines and answer some questions. Alrighty.
Hi, Marie. This is Jasmine from New York. First, I just want to express tons of gratitude for you and everything that you do. I'm a longtime listener, and you have been the catalyst for so much positive change in my life.
Great.
I could have called in a million times to this show and asked a million different questions, but other callers just asked them for me, and really, I'm doing great.
Yay.
So I just thought I would leave or ask you for something fun, which is, what does my energy look like to you? You gave a really beautiful answer when describing Alex Ferrari's energy system. So yeah, I'm just curious. You say people don't look like their names. So I'm wondering what you see when you look at my energy. Thank you so much. I'm your biggest fan. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. That is a fun question. When I do retreats, I don't know if I did it this last time in Ireland. We'll have to ask some of the attendees. I will go around the room. I think I did. I know I did. It took me a few days and describe to people what they look like to me. This is one of the reasons why I don't often remember people's names. It's like a confusing thing for me. I'm like, oh yeah, their name's Janet. And they don't look anything like a Janet. And maybe some people don't think about how someone presents energetically. I don't remember what I said about Alex. I'm sure it was lovely, because he's lovely. Okay, so you look like, the first thing I see is this beautiful pond, and it's kind of deep, as if we were standing in a park. There's actually a park in Bellevue. I think it's called Robbinswood Park. I used to play there, or my siblings really played there. But yeah, I lived close to that park when I was in my teens. And coming into the park, there's like, it's up, and then you walk down, and then there's this pond. The pond's quite large. Your pond is smaller, so it's maybe 4 feet in diameter. It's not a very large pond. And there's several lily pads flowering like in magenta colors floating on the pond. And the pond's very quiet. There's no ripples. I don't see frogs jumping. It's soft and quiet. It's peaceful. But here's the kicker. There's a huge waterfall, like feeding into the pond, although there's no splashing. And the waterfall is enormous. Like, I know you live in New York, but we have really great waterfalls. Obviously, Niagara Falls is quite huge, but we have really big waterfalls like Snoqualmie Falls, huge. I've been to Ireland twice now, and people go, "Oh, you got to come see these waterfalls." And I go see them. I'm like, yeah, that's not a waterfall. I'm sure they're lovely in multiple places in Ireland, but yeah, we have some pretty amazing waterfalls because we have really high mountains where Ireland doesn't really have really high mountains. So it's interesting. There's this huge floating or gushing of water from the falls coming directly into the pond or right on the edge of it, but the pond is not disturbed. So it tells me two things. You have a lot of energy, like strong, powerful energy, and you have this calmness within you, a beautiful calmness, a peacefulness within you. I think that's a great combination to have this fire and then this, I know it's water, but it feels very earth to me. There's a grounded calmness. So that's what you look like. Thank you. That was a fun question. I really liked it. Thank you so much. It's nice.
Hi, Marie. This is Nicole, and I'm in New Hampshire. So I am really I would like to know what frequency I'm operating at. I hope I'm high, but I do feel like maybe I could work on that a little bit. I'd like to know what you can see on that. And then the other thing is I am seeing angel numbers at least 4 to 5 times a day, if not more. And I don't know, mainly it's on the clock. Sometimes it's other numbers, other places. I don't know if it's just because I am looking at the clock all the time. I have a desk job and I'm just happening to catch them all the time. Or are my spirit guides trying to communicate something to me? And if they are, what is the message? I would love to communicate with them. I'd love to hear more from them, to feel them. I don't yet, I don't think, but I'm wondering if that's a message from them. And then the last thing, if you have time, I would love to see if you get anything, if you pick up on anything from my dad who's passed. His name's Mark. And then my grandparents, which are his parents. So my grandfather and grandmother. I'd like to see if anything comes through for them. Thank you so much. I love you. I love everything you do. I love your mission. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Hi, Nicole. So one of my worries here on this podcast is that I'm going to answer the same question more than once. And I don't know, Nicole, if I've answered your question previously on a previous podcast. So if I have, and the percentage is different in terms of your frequency, just know that because it's improved, because the frequency is about 60 to 65%, which is, I would love everyone to have their kind of like their consistent frequency to be at 65%, because it's easier to manifest at 65%. So that tells me that you're happy, you're fulfilled, you feel really good about yourself. Those numbers are your spirit guides giving you a thumbs up. So whenever I look at the clock and I see 3:3 or 11:11, or, I know that my spirit guides are telling me I'm on track. I'm doing the right thing. I'm in alignment. So that's what that means. I think what you have to do, because your vibration's in a good spot, you need to look for some more subtle energy. So the universe it's not always loud. It's kind of quiet. It's kind of like if you have an e-bike, or anyone who does, some of them are louder than others. Like, I'm really happy with the one I got. There's certain things about my daughters I like better. I should have gone in and tried all of them instead of thinking I was getting something close to my daughter's bike. It's kind of close. But one of the things I love about my e-bike is it's quiet. My daughter's is loud. And so when I'm driving, riding in nature, which is the majority of the time I'm riding on the Birkeland Trail close to my house. And it's, the Smash River Trail is part of it. It's just lovely. So there's lots of birds and water. So I can't hear nature when I'm on my daughter's bike, but I can hear it when I'm on my bike. And I'm grateful for it. Plus mine isn't quite as heavy, because e-bikes are kind of heavy. So I think you're waiting for some, you're waiting for something to be really obvious, but spirit is soft, kind, loving, gentle. So you kind of want to wait for whatever one of your senses is perking up for you. Whether, let's say if it's visual, something's waving at you a little bit, or you like, oh, is the sun in my eyes? Or you hear a sound, a little sound, and you're like, oh, take your time, quiet your mind, and just be patient, because I think everything is fine. Nothing's wrong. You're just expecting like what most people expect. I often say this in classes is they're waiting for FedEx to drop off a package with details and instructions and written answers. And it doesn't work like that. The universe doesn't think anything's wrong. So our spirit guides are not there to warn us or to create havoc in our lives. Even if we are in a weird situation and we do need assistance from them, they do it through kindness and love and joy. And so you look for some subtle changes around you, whether it's, something that you're touching or hearing or feeling, and then sit into that subtleness. Just like take some deep breaths into the subtleness, really let yourself be in the subtleness, and then see what happens. Stay in the subtleness, keep your energy elevated, but stay in the subtleness. There's this one bridge I walk close to the home. It's in a wetland park, and bald eagles tend to sit really high in a couple of the trees, but you can't tell until you walk past the trees, because you have to really look up high, and you have to be kind of like, 40 feet away from the trees at least, so that you can see them, and you have to kind of move your head a certain way so you can see them through the branches and the leaves. And so it takes a little bit of time. I have to be patient. Of course I am. Charles isn't patient. He's like, what are we doing? I'm like, wait, is there an eagle in the tree? And 9 times out of 10 there is, but it can take me a little while to actually see its beautiful white head if it's an adult. So that's what you need to do. Give yourself some space. It's not blunt. It's not loud. There's a softness to the universe. Okay, that's all I'm going to answer though. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Marie. I have a question about being a mother. I became a mother 3 years ago.
Congrats.
To just a wild soul.
Must be a boy.
A little boy. He's 3 years old, as I just said. And through this process of becoming a mother, so I grew up in a very difficult situation. I had a lot of difficulties growing up, and I repressed everything. And so
really,
the last 15 years of my life, I've been really working on myself. And meditating. For 14 years, I have a solid meditation practice, and a lot of that was spent getting into my body. I was not in my body. There was a lot of discomfort in there, and I've spent a lot of time in my body holding space for the discomfort and releasing a lot of it, and I've changed a lot. But then since becoming a mom,
it's a whole nother
it feels like the deeper part of the iceberg has been revealed. And I've been working with that content as well. Like I realize it's like, I don't know, part of my past that I couldn't access is coming up through this experience of mothering him through his toddler years. And he's an intense little kid. That's what it feels like. Maybe you can tell me otherwise. Maybe he's just responding to my energy, but a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm just asking. My question to you is, can you provide some insight to me about him and me, about our relationship and our cosmic relationship? What does he need from me? What do I need? I've been consumed by trying to heal, and I'm only recently onto your podcast with really giving myself some credit and loving myself, and just saying, I am doing this. I am showing up, and I'm willing to change and to hear and just try to just love myself where I am. But, it takes, as you said, it takes time. It's an advanced practice. Yeah, I don't know. Can you can you give me any insight into my journey as a mother with this sweet little guy? All right. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you, Rachel. I think parenting, it's a joy, an absolute joy. That's what your son wants. He just wants you two to love each other unconditionally. And you tend to analyze, overthink, process every little thing, every action he takes. You're like, why did he do that? Or do I need to do something? There's just too much analyzing going on when what you want to capture, and I'm sure you have many, many times in childhood, is just those incredible moments of being present and loving each other unconditionally. That's really the joy, I think, of parenting and the joy for the children. Right now, one of the grandkids who's 4, and they're all fun and playful and delicious, but she's just being a little, in Farsi they call it shaytun, means mischievous, and we all just kind of look at each other and go, she's being shaytuni. So she's just like, today her parents and her sister were doing some dance in the studio, and I was there, and she's trying to sneak out the back door, and the back door is a parking lot, and then there's just roads. It's a big parking lot, but still, so first her mother grabs her, then I grab her the second time. I'm not saying your son is doing this. I don't really know. But what your son really wants, and just what this lovely child wants, is they just want your attention. They just want your love. They just want you to, even if they're acting like they don't want it, they just want you to think and feel that they are the most precious things on the planet, because they are. In this moment in time, to be a child is such a gift. It's such an honor, especially when we have people on the planet who love and adore children. Is it hard work? Yeah. I think parenting is the hardest job on the planet, but it can be the most joyful. The people who I know who've really loved raising their kids under whatever conditions or circumstances say that it was some of the happiest moments of their life. I would agree with that. Although having grandchildren, it's kind of the icing on the cake, because they go home, you walk away, you don't have to pay for college unless you want to, right? It's just a totally different experience. But I think if you can just get into that silly, fun place where you're in that shaytuni energy, you're in that mischievous energy. That's what he wants. He doesn't want you to be serious. He wants you to be playful. He's trying to bring that out in you, that playfulness. And if you could just look at him, like even today when Allie was trying to escape out the door and I'm grabbing her, she even fell down, but I'm grabbing her. As I get her back in, I'm just looking at her like, oh, you're the most adorable, shaytuni, gorgeous, sunshine, precious baby girl ever, And then she smiles at me and then goes and sits down and was actually, didn't try to escape further, which was lovely. So just have fun, be playful, enjoy every second. Before you know it, he's going to be in high school. It happens really fast. Okay, I hope that's helpful. So nothing's serious, nothing's wrong. Just enjoy it. Have fun. That's all. That's what he wants. Okay.
Hey Marie, this is Daniel in San Francisco. I'm really excited to be talking to you, actually, or at least leaving a message. So I have this question. This happened to me when I was a child. Um, I had what felt like a dream that there were these two figures standing in the doorway. They were backlit, and the room I was in was really dark, which looked exactly like my bedroom, so maybe it was real. Um, and at the sight of them, I was the most afraid I've ever been in my life, even to this
Aw,
day.
it is kind of
And
scary
I began to
sometimes.
like scream at the top of my lungs. I must
I
have
mean,
been
I've never
like
been
between
scared,
5 and 6 years old.
but
And I have another memory that's like very similar to this one, where it's like after that happened, my brother. It's like I woke up and my brother was hugging me because he was
Mhm,
scared that I was so scared.
mhm.
Um, and then alternatively, I don't know if this is like related in any way. I grew up in the church, and every time we'd have like a guest speaker, guest preacher come in and give a sermon, they would always have like a prayer for everybody in the audience, congregation. And they would always single me out. And they would always say something to the effect of, the Holy Spirit is upon you,
Yeah,
or
such a
like, I
blessing.
see a diamond
Mm.
over your head, or something. It always felt kind of like nice and reassuring, but I always felt like I didn't really know what to make of it. Anyway, obviously I'm listening to your podcast and I love it. And so I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God and feel a deep connection to the Christ.
Oh,
Not necessarily any dogma though.
great. Yeah.
Um, I just wanted to know if you made anything of it, of what I just said, and if they're related. Have a feeling that because I was so afraid as a kid, I shut down on some level any sort of connection to that, like, other dimensions, you know? And
Mhm.
so now as an adult, 38, I'm rediscovering it. And
Yay.
I feel a lot more open and expansive, but I was just curious. It's always been on my mind. Anyway, thank you, Marie. Bye bye.
You're welcome, Daniel. Yes. So when you were in the church and these different speakers were coming in, they could see the bright light around you. Like you have that holy presence, that high vibrational Christ energy just naturally circulating around you. It's beautiful. It's natural. It's amazing. It's such a great thing to have. So it's a compliment. When I'm teaching live typically, but I do it when I'm teaching online too. And this is kind of related. I'm not looking for the Holy Spirit, if you will, although I love Christ energy as well, even though I've never read the Bible. When I'm reading for groups and I'm looking for whoever is going to be the best person for me to read for, because I want whoever I pick to offer the best teachings, right? Like somehow we move into some sort of synergy, that the stories work really well for the entire group. And so I look for whoever has the brightest light in that moment. So as I'm scanning the audience, that's what I'm looking for, because that's a signal to me that they are the right person for me to talk to. So look at it kind of that way, like they're looking out at the audience and they see your beautiful bright light. And so they can't help but to comment on it. But that bright light is that God consciousness inside of you, which you've always had. I think those two figures were spirit guides. So sometimes spirit guides share the primary position. So there's one guide that can never leave our side. They have to be with us all the time. And some people have two, and you have a male and a female. So you're very balanced in your masculine and feminine energy, which is excellent. It's wonderful. You can have all of these spiritual experiences. I think you just have to stop trying to figure it out. Like stop trying to think through it. You want to feel. So for myself in my personal life, when I'm out in the world, I will know when the universe is trying to get my attention. And it could be personal for me. It could be something I need to do out in the world, but I'll start to feel something. It may feel like the skies, and I live in the Northwest, so it's, other than we had a great summer, it's not always clear. It's cloudy. It's like San Francisco, right? Although yours gets very dug in, so to speak, but it'll feel like the sky above me has gotten brighter, or a tree starts to glow, and it allows me to stop and slow down and raise my vibration even further. I get very excited when this happens, and luckily it happens often. But it's a subtle feeling. It's a subtle feeling. And yes, the multisensory world will back off if we start to have autonomic responses to their presence, because they don't want us to be fearful. That's not why they come, to scare us. But you can talk to the multisensory world and say, I know I'm really scared, but I don't care. I want to have these experiences. And speak it out loud like you're talking to the heavens. They will listen and they will oblige. Okay, fun. Great story. When you were talking about sitting in the church, there was a church that I walked into, a very crumbly kind of church in Italy. And nobody was in the church when I walked in. And there's even fake flowers on the stage. I don't know what you call it. And I sat in one of the pews and I just burst out crying. The energy was so high in this dilapidated church that was like carved into a hillside. It was stunning. And I was so overwhelmed by the spontaneous grief or joy, or a combination of that was pouring out of me. I would go outside, take a deep breath, look at the ocean, and then go back in. It was amazing. Every time I went back in, I would start crying. It was beautiful. So that's what that reminds me of, you sitting in the pews. Like the universe loves you deeply and is happy for you. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Bobby Wilkerson. I'm from Bethany, Oklahoma. My question is about the pain in my neck and shoulder and right arm. I don't know if it's, I know it's from overuse with the work that I do. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, thank you for all your work.
You're welcome, Bobby. Yeah, I'm so sorry for the pain. Yeah. I mean, could you take more time off? Could you take a sabbatical so you could like fully heal? Could you change your job? I don't know how old you are. Are you hopefully going to retire sometime in the next decade? So yes, there is an aspect of re-injuring this area. Like it never really gets to rest, right? But it's also about speaking your truth. And I know you're an honest person, so it's not that kind of truth. It's like a spiritual kind of conscious truth. It's going to be different than other people. And sometimes when people have a different vantage point, and you may not have an awareness of it, or you may, when they have a different vantage point, they don't always feel comfortable expressing it. But I highly recommend that you do, because it will send positive energy to your neck and your shoulders. Now, if you can't voice it, in the moment, if you don't feel comfortable to do that, write it in a journal when you get home. Speak to a cat or a dog about it, a tree, let it out of your body. And I would get curious about your truth, because I bet your truth is very powerful and unique and interesting. And it probably doesn't vibrate significantly for the area that you live, or your friends or family or your coworkers. Like you're a different slice of pie and they don't know it. But it's actually helpful for other people when we share our own slice of knowledge. I think people who have their own unique awareness about life or society, they're meant to share their knowledge. So I would get curious about that and start sharing right away. Yeah, luckily, I've been to Oklahoma probably a handful of times because one of my children lived there, and son-in-law, and a grandbaby was born there. So I've been there a lot. And even though, a lot of people in Oklahoma don't, vote or believe in the way a lot of people in Washington State vote or believe in, everyone was gracious and kind. Even this one time, my daughter and I were wearing masks because she was pregnant. I flew in to see her pregnant in person, right? And it was during COVID. So I wore 2 masks on the airplane, didn't use the restroom, didn't drink water. And because 3 of my daughters gave birth during COVID. So it's an interesting time. And so we went to a garden store to get some plants that we were going to plant. And we were the only people in the store wearing masks. And people were looking at us like they were surprised every time we turned a corner, but they were gracious and kind. So I'm saying that because I think no matter what your truth is, everyone will be gracious and kind to you, but it's not going to be the same as the people that you surround yourself with. It's going to be different. And that's exciting. I think I think truth is way powerful and very interesting, and a God-given experience. That's what I think. And it'll help your neck and your shoulders. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Marie. This is Michelle. I live in Indiana. I listen to your podcast almost every day.
Oh,
I lost my son not quite 2 years ago, tragically,
I'm so sorry.
and have not been the same since.
Yeah.
Don't feel like I belong. Haven't felt well in years.
Oh,
Struggling just to
yeah.
get on with it every day. Listening, I don't listen to the radio since my son passed. Can't listen to music, but I listen to your podcast every time I'm in the car, and it calms me down, centers me.
Good.
I just want to know, maybe if you can, I don't want to cry,
You can
if you
cry.
can tell me if my son's all right.
Yeah.
And if you can also maybe give me an energy read and tell me how I can find my joy now,
Oh,
because I don't know how. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
thank you, Michelle. I'm so sorry that your son passed. I truly am. He's cradling you. As I'm listening to this, and I know you left this months ago, because that's just the situation we have right now. But he's going to show up. When you left it, he's probably been by your side over these last 2 years because this was so hard on you. But as I'm hearing your voice and seeing him, handsome guy, very handsome. And he looked so strong, whether he was, a super strong person or just had lean. When I look at Charles, he's all muscle. He only weighs 60 pounds. He's really tall. He's a very tall dog, but he's just pure muscle. That's why he has to have a harness, because otherwise he'll drag me someplace. But he's cradling you. It's as if he made you smaller, or he made himself very large, and he just scoops you up on his lap and just cradles you. And he just carries you that way around. And he would love, 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 love if you could sense that. And I know it's hard. Grief is a very unique experience. It's not a one size fits all kind of thing. And I think when it comes to children, people tend to grieve the rest of their life in some capacity, which I blame a little bit in terms of the way we look at death and society. And we don't teach about souls and how souls don't look at chronological age before they cross. They just look at, oh, I want to cross over. And of course, the human usually has no awareness of that, has no understanding of what's going to occur. It's all unconscious. So he wants me to tell you he's got you. He's not letting go. He's very happy. He laughed a little bit about the question. Obviously, he's known for a long time that you've been worried about him. And most people are, when they're looking for their loved ones who've crossed, they want to know the same question you asked. Are they okay? Of course they're okay. They're in heaven. They're hanging out with sunshine and light, and they don't have to eat, work, go to the bathroom, drive cars. It's a very different reality. And they have major mass of consciousness. He tells me that you worked very hard to raise him and take care of him. And he wants me to tell you that he appreciates all the effort you put into raising him. He wants me to tell you that you put a significant amount of effort into that. And he very much appreciates it. He said he knew that, but when he crossed, he could see how much work went into being a parent, because it's a lot of work, right? I mean, it never goes away, by the way. It changes over the years, but it's still present always. So he's thanking you for your time and your energy. He uses the word even sacrifice for everything that you did for him. And I can hear you, even though you may not be answering exactly, maybe you are. I can hear you saying, it was my pleasure, it was my joy. I would do it 100 times over. And he feels that your relationship has actually grown, even though you're not feeling this. He feels closer to you than he ever has before. And he adores you immensely. He adores you. So maybe if you just start telling yourself every day, what if my son's okay? What if my son's okay? What if we are creating a new relationship? Start using some positive, curious, what if questions. And then I think you're going to get back to some things that were joyful for you. Definitely creative things. So try those what if questions. He's kissing you on your forehead, the top of your head, and he's cradling you. That's really beautiful. What a kind image he's shared with all of us. I love it. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the show today. I am teaching. As you may know, I start teaching in the fall, and I am currently in 3 courses, and we'll start a new course in about 2 weeks on the Shift Network. So visit energyintuitive.com. I teach live, but all my classes are recorded, so you could jump into a course whenever you want to. And I hope to see you there. It's a lot of fun. We dive deeper. We have a lot of joy, and a lot of learning occurs, as it does here on the podcast. And thank you so much for listening.